Hey guys, welcome back to the Atypical Declutter game. My name is April and this is Atypical Life. Today is J4, don't let it go to waste. This really relates to tip 2, but this is probably my least favorite part of decluttering, so I really want to break it up because I really despise this part. Unfortunately, making the decision to let something go is not always the hardest part, but figuring out what to do with it after that. It is really a separate challenge all on its own. Sometimes it can be just as much work. Often it is just as much work as actually doing the sorting and getting rid of things. I personally do not like to trash perfectly usable items. This belief is probably part of the reason why I struggle a little bit more with clutter. I know that some gurus recommend just getting rid of it, throwing it in the trash, because they don't want you to get stuck with your clutter in this phase, because they know how hard of a step this really is. But even though I understand their thoughts about it, it's just not for me. And I'm going to point out a few reasons why. First, we have enough trash as it is, and encouraging people to throw away usable goods is really hard for me. I really love nature. I love hiking. I love the outdoors, and I just always feel a sense of guilt throwing away usable things. Even throwing away too much trash in general, like big plastic things or whatever. I know some of this stuff can be recycled, but if you know about recycling, then you know that recycling is not the end-all, be-all answer to the problem. Reduce. Reduce. So second, a common problem for people who struggle with clutter is poverty complex. So encouraging someone with a fear of poverty or not having enough to go around, encouraging that person to throw away usable items is going to get a response that might say something like, I'll just keep it. People, self-included, with this issue are not just going to throw away perfectly good stuff in the trash. So it becomes a deterrent to decluttering, because you're like, I'm not just going to throw this stuff away, so you just put it back on the shelf. Okay, then you have third, for the people who are able to throw things away. The problem here is you might be missing out on a really valuable lesson that will help you in the long run, and that lesson's about stuff in general, and that it doesn't just end when you decide you don't want it anymore. So the energy of that stuff is still here. The carcass of this stuff is still here. You have to do something with it. So putting that energy into finding homes for things that you don't want anymore is a big deterrent for overbuying. When I'm looking at something new in the store, whether it's a toy and it's something that I wasn't necessarily looking for, but it's a great deal, and I'm sitting here and I'm struggling in the store with this decision, a lot of times I'll ask myself, what am I going to be able to do with it after the new wears off? Is this something that I'm going to be able to pass on? Will I be able to get rid of it after I open it? Is anybody else going to want this thing? If the answer is yes, then sometimes I'll buy it. And then, like, if it's a game or something I can play a few times and then pass it on, great. If it's a single-use item, then maybe not. If it's something that nobody else, some underwear or something that nobody else is going to want after I use them, then maybe not, you know. But overbuying or over-acquiring is usually one of the biggest sources of problems with clutter for most people. So not solving this problem inevitably means you're just going to keep ending up where you started. And you're not going to keep making the reductions that are necessary, because you have to start reducing what you bring in unless you want to keep going through this phase forever and ever and ever. The fourth thing, making money. So I have figured this out through my experience that even making $1, just setting up a yard sale time and be like, I'm going to put every $1 on everything. Even making $1 for my items will encourage you to let more things go if this is a struggle, if you're struggling over something. So knowing that someone might use your item, and then you get a little something in your pocket in return is a good incentive for those items that you're struggling with. Just be reasonable. You have to know that your items are worth way more to you than to anybody else. So be realistic. Be undervalued in your asking price, because the true value is that you will have less chaos in your life. Okay? I do want to make sure that I'm clear. I am not trying to discourage you from throwing away trash, okay? Learning to differentiate trash between what someone else might find as a treasure is something that will come with strengthening your decluttering muscles. An old shirt with a hole or pit stains, that's trash. Okay, broken items, trash. Don't try to save it. Don't try to fix it. If it's trash, just let it be. I do struggle with the idea of just trashing gently used clothes that are definitely could be worn by someone else. Things that are in good condition, things that could still be used. Okay, now that I'm done doing my best to discourage you from throwing things out, I am going to encourage you to make a list based in reality. Be very realistic in this list of things that you can do to get rid of these items. eBay and other top dollar sites might not be your best item, as they're pretty labor intensive. And if you had a lot of free time, you probably wouldn't be in this video. You probably wouldn't be feeling behind on your housework. You probably wouldn't have let the clutter mount up. So I really caution against thinking that you're going to get top dollar for your stuff at eBay. I would recommend you to do something faster. I will list a few ideas that I have, and I hope that you all can add some things in the comments that maybe I didn't think of, or better ideas for you. Consignment shops, especially the ones that do the tagging and stuff for you, is really nice. Neighborhood groups. So my neighborhood has a group, and sometimes, we'll ask if anybody's interested, and we'll post a few things. Friend groups, sell or give away. You can sell or give away these items. Setting things out with a free sign by the curb if you live in that type of place. I know that works for larger items around here. Habitat for Humanity will pick things up. Goodwill, other donation companies. Sometimes I get really frustrated because there's some of these companies I don't really agree with, but at the same time, they take my stuff and I don't have to deal with it anymore. And that's really nice. So we might get into the subject again if anyone has any really great ideas, or if I feel like I want to elaborate on any of these other ideas. But I'm curious. Tell us. Do you have any better ideas? Do you have any other ways that you part with your items? Let us know in the comments.
All right. So I just want to point out that today's items will put me at 48, but another really cool thing about the items that I have here today. So some of these were obviously not trash items to me, but there were a few things like the light switch cover, the bubble camera, the flashcards, one of the pairs of pants, the lace and trace things that, like, honestly, I was kind of like, I feel like these might be a little bit like trash. I don't know. They just don't look so great. Maybe not so much lace and trace, but I'm like, are they worth even taking to consignment? Is anybody even going to want these? Because I do consignment with a lot of my items. And the really cool thing is that I took them to consignment and they already sold. So it really does just go to show you that, like, even if you might not think something is that valuable, like, somebody else might really want to try it or be interested in having it for themselves.
So don't forget to post your progress pics on Instagram if you want a little extra encouragement, a like or two. It's hashtag A.Typical Declutter, and share it with your friends if you think they might want to join in. Thanks everyone, and see you tomorrow. Bye! Hey guys, welcome back to the Atypical Declutter game. My name is April, and this is Atypical Life. Number 5, identify your trigger areas. I have a couple of rooms in my house that stay clean. Kind of stay clean. One is a small living room that we don't use for much, but I use it every single morning to work out in. 2 is a kitchen that gets messy every single day, but it also gets cleaned every single day. But the problem in the kitchen is clutter starts gathering on the side in this corner of the cabinet, and then it grows, and then it grows, and then it grows, and it creeps over and takes over the whole space till the whole space is unusable. I have a tolerance for a small amount of clutter, but not unusable spaces. 3, the closet. I have to be able to get things in and out efficiently and easy and quickly because we got to get dressed. We're always in a hurry. We're always running late, aren't we? Bedside table. I need to be able to lay down at night and just put my stuff on the table, my water and my phone specifically, and they need to have their space, and I don't have time to move things or rearrange things. Those are the spaces that make me feel like the walls are closing in when they get cluttered. over the summer, my son and I had this couple of like really wallowy days. We got back from vacation and we're just in the living room where I work out and just really resting. Okay, so on the third day, I was ready to go in there and work out. I mean, it was a disaster. And I thought I was about to have a panic attack. I was so triggered when I came into all that clutter and all that mess everywhere. And it was like, I realized that I was having like a trigger moment. And it was like, oh, hold on, let me think about this for a minute. And if this room is a mess, like why, and I can't do what I need to do here, then it's just over. I'm done. I might as well just give up. I got to go back to bed. I got to call for help. I got to totally freak out, or I could clean it up. And I know that reaction might seem over the top, but I know I've seen some of you other moms before, and I've seen you walk into the chaos and it can get a little bit weird. You are not alone. I do it too. I think we all do. It's just like, what? This happens with my messes, and a lot of times the messes are caused by clutter. So I'm going to use my closet example. It's another space that if I've been purchasing clothes and I've not been decluttering, then I kind of end up with like more clothes than I have hangers, and I have this overflowing pickle of clothes and shoes that don't fit into the closet, and they end up taking over the spaces in my life, and now they're in the floor and they're on the bed and they're on the dresser, and I start to, every time I walk into this room to get dressed, I start to get this feeling of malcontent, and it's yucky, failure, chaos, and I'm falling behind, and I can't keep up. And the truth is usually that it only takes me about 15 minutes to clean it up and do a good quick declutter, a quick tidy, back on track. But until I really noticed that this was a thing, I would sometimes sit with those really uncomfortable emotions of chaos, fear, failure, yuck, immediate want to get back into bed, depression, anger at others, important one, for not helping, instead of setting a timer, taking 15 minutes to fix or at least work on the problem. Sometimes I tried to shut the door, like we just won't look at it, but that doesn't really work because then I have to use that space again the next day. And it was the same thing every time I had to use the space, until finally I'm like, oh, I just do it. So now that I understand how this scenario hijacks me and my well-being, I can be so much more proactive and know exactly what I need to do. And what I need to do is declutter and tidy. Another good idea is to make some notes for reorganization. I have a little section in my notebook that's just about like decluttering ideas, notes, brainstorms. They're just random thoughts. There's no organization to it, but I know when I am working on decluttering or something, I can just flip over to that little section of the notebook, and I can know that my closet might need reorganized and I need more space for purses, or I need more space for shoes. But the point is, just start working on it. Just do it. Don't ruin a whole week stressing about it. Don't ruin another day about it. Don't ruin your relationships by yelling at other people because you're frustrated about something else. Set a timer. 5 minutes, 10 minutes. Set a goal. One thing. I'm going to move 2 things. Tidy up, declutter something. Every time you have to use that space, retidy and declutter the space, it'll be done in 2 or 3 times, It won't take that long.
Okay, this is J5's Declutter. No real theme here today, just some stuff I had laying around, some old clothing items. But I would like to point out that on day 5, we are at 58 items. Is that right? 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, and 8 on the first day. That is correct. All right, guys.
That's my thoughts for today about identifying your trigger spaces and just learning to tackle them instead of letting them fester. Don't forget to post your thoughts or comments in the comment section and let us know what your trigger spaces are. You can also post your progress pics on Instagram if you want a little extra encouragement and a few likes. Hashtag A.Typical Declutter. Share it with your IRL friends if you think they might want to join in. Thanks everyone, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye! Hey everyone, welcome back to the Atypical Declutter game. My name is April and you are at Atypical Life. Today is day 6, and on day 6 I would just like to remind you to take pictures of your progress and of the items and the piles of stuff that you are letting go of. This is fun and it's rewarding and it's proof of the progress. Some days when you don't feel like you've done enough or you just feeling a little bit down on your progress, you can look back at those pictures in the declutter folder and just see how much stuff you have really let go of. Sometimes I look back over the years and I'm like, wow. I mean, it blows my mind sometimes. I'll see things that I really, really struggled with in those pictures, and I'm like, man, I'm so glad I got rid of that stuff. I mean, it's almost always like I never feel a sense of regret. I always look back at them and I'm like, man, I'm so glad I did that. You can also share your pics on Instagram or social media to motivate yourself or others. Just remember to be conscious of any info or items you might not want to share with the public, or your enemies or people you don't know. So any mailing labels, school names, info about your child or your health, anything like that. Another benefit of the picture is for sentimental items and items that trigger memories for you. So my example is I really struggled decluttering. This was a weird one, but my little boy's shoes. Sounds crazy. He wears them so much. I mean, especially for kids, they don't often have that many pairs of shoes. And so there's something about those kind of like dirty, stinky, worn out shoes that I just have so many memories of him in, that brings up so many feelings for me. So much so that like the hoarder in me is like wanting to hold on to them. I mean, even though it's super unrealistic, and kind of silly to even think about holding on to them, that part of me is like, oh, I have to let these go. What I realized, if I take a picture of them, and I still get to keep that memory and the feeling when I see those pictures, and minus the stinky, dirty space hog of the actual shoes themselves. So I'm able to just say thank you to the shoes and dispose of them or recycle them when appropriate, or even, sell them for consignment when appropriate. So yeah, taking pictures of things has just helped me tremendously, both from the aspect of remembering and from the aspect of motivating. If you have not tried it, you really should. All right, and one last thing would be to make sure you do your before and after pictures. I didn't really focus on that yet, but like if you're doing a closet or a drawer or anything, just try to take one before you start and take one after you're finished, even if you're not completely finished. Just so you can see your progress for the day. And it's really cool. Like you might find yourself just flipping back and looking over at that picture throughout the day because you're like, I did that today. Like I made that bit of progress. All right, so taking pictures, that one's pretty self-explanatory, pretty fast. I don't have too much to say about it, but make sure you're taking digital pictures. Obviously, I don't even know if they do film anymore, but let the items go, keep track of your progress, and it will continue to motivate you and potentially others.
All right, you guys, speaking of shoes, we have a variety of shoes here, some that are gently used, some that were very, very, very used. Love those babies' shoes. I can't help it. We have some books that we never really got into. We have 10 items for today. And that brings our total up to 58 for the project.
Don't forget to post your thoughts in the comments. And especially for this step, come on, post some pictures on Instagram. Let me encourage you to post a couple pictures on Instagram. If you want a little extra encouragement, it's hashtag A.Typical Declutter, all one word. Also share it with your friends if you think they might want to join in, and search if you just want to follow the hashtag A.Typical Declutter, all one word. And thanks everyone. I'll see you again tomorrow. Bye.